At the end of this coming match day, one of these four clubs will be sitting top of the table over in League One. Will it be Wimbledon, Bradford City, Cardiff City or Stockport County? Today, we find out. Hey, my name is Dirk and this is Blackburn Rovers City's your non-stop shop for EFL content. That's right, today we're predicting, unlucky for some, match day number 13 in League One. So do us all a favour, smash your subscribe if you're new, and of course, do us a favour as well. Can I get a 50 like count out of you guys? So just smash the like button for us. Of course, let's get those numbers up there. But until then, let's sit tight, hold on, and let's get cracking. Okay, let's take a look back at the last round of matches. These are the results. And these were my predictions. Alright then folks, let's head into match number 13 over in League One with some absolutely stellar matches on the agenda this coming weekend, of course, including the top one. Let's go to Huddersfield Town as they take on Bolton. Goodness gracious me, this is actually coming at you this coming Thursday, the 16th of October. As Huddersfield under Lee Grant, who sits 7th right now with 19 points, take on a Bolton Wanderers side, and the Stephen Schumacher, who are 8th with 17 points, just 2 points separate the two sides at the John Smith's Kirklees McAlpine Stadium. That's right, Huddersfield under Lee Grant, not the best bit of form for them right now, 25%, just one win in the last 6 matches, of course, after they lost to Stockport County this past weekend. As for the visitors, Bolton also on the back of a defeat, losing to Burton Albion, goodness gracious me, at the Port Vale this past Saturday, goodness gracious. Now, these two clubs have played 21 times since 1996. We have 7 wins for Huddersfield, 11 wins for Bolton. There's been 3 draws between the two sides, with the last match at this venue being back January 2025, with resulting in a 1-0 win for Bolton Wanderers. Goodness. What about the bookies? Well, let's bring them on and take a little look at what they think is going to go on in this match. All right, difficult one to call this one. Huddersfield Town, they've got odds at 18-11. Bolton 16-11. It's so tight between these two. The draw 20-10. That might be your best bet, Dirk, on this one. So with all that being said, I am going to go with a cheeky 2-2 draw in this one. Of course, a lot resting on this one, with both sides trying to establish themselves in those playoff positions. Meanwhile, let's kick it on forward to the next game, and we go to the Port Vale as two strugglers now, Lockhorns, as Gary Bowyer's Burton Albion take on Peterborough under Darren Ferguson. That's right, of course, 20th placed Burton under Team GB with 12 points, coming into this with just 1 defeat in the last 4 matches. Up against Peterborough, Darren Ferguson, they've won 3 and they've lost 3 over the last 6 matches, but they currently sit bottom with just 7 points for this campaign. Now, so Burton Albion coming into this on the back of that 3-0 win over Bolton. That was this past weekend on the 11th of October. Convincing win for Team GB's boys. Meanwhile, Peterborough also, their last match was against Bolton. However, they lost 2-1 way back on October the 4th, of course. All right, over the Port Vale, we've got 30-10. Burton Albion on the back of that big win against Bolton. We've got 9-5, your strugglers. Peterborough, when are they going to click the gear? And of course, at 5-2 is the draw. It could be losing you out here for Fergie. We'll see about that. So type 1 here, of course, could go either way. Bit of a coin flip, but I'm going to go with Gary Bowyer's Burton Albion. I think they're going to have too much in the tank, and of course, we'll be buoyed on from that big win against Bolton this past weekend. Let's go to Sincil Bank as Lincoln City try to get back into good form, taking on high-flying Stevenage. Of course, they're table toppers right now. Lincoln, Michael Scabula's boys are 6th with 21 points, but they've lost 2 and they've won 2 at the last 4 matches. Taking on the Stevenage side, who are top with 25 points, unbeaten in at least the last 6 games, picking up 4 wins on the bounce, goodness gracious. Now, Lincoln are on the back of a 1-0 loss to Exeter this past weekend, with their last win in the league was a 3-0 away win to Peterborough back on the 27th of September. As for Stevenage, back-to-back home wins, of course, 2-1 winners over Bromley. Most recently, their last away match also resulted in a win when they beat Leyton Orient at Brisbane Road. Now, these two clubs coming into this having played 10 times to 2010, 4 wins for Lincoln, 3 wins for Stevenage. There's been 3 draws between the two sides. The last time they played over at this venue, it was a 0-0 scoreline back in January 2025. In fact, the last 2, scrap that, the last 3 between these two sides at this venue have ended up all square. Goodness gracious. Does that affect the bookies? Well, let's go and find out. Oh, that's a tasty one, this one. Lincoln City's 4-3. They are favourites, but Stevenage doing absolutely fantastic this campaign. 2-1 for them. Oh, I don't know which way you're going to swing for this one, so the draw might be the last choice. 9-4 currently at Sincil Bank. All right, with that being said, I'm a big fan of Michael Skabula over at Lincoln City. I think they're going to get a result here. Bit of a surprise, perhaps. Maybe I haven't drunk the Kool-Aid yet for Stevenage. So I'm going to back Central Bank's very own Lincoln City with a 2-1 win and take all 3 points this coming match day. Let's go to Bloomfield Road now as Blackpool take on Wycombe Wanderers. That's right. Stephen Dobbie's still at the helm as of recording. They currently find themselves 23rd right now. 8 points for them in a season that promised so much for the Tangerines. Taking on a Wycombe Wanderers side also trying to bounce back now under new management with Michael Duff trying to continue his good bit of form at the moment. Now they're coming into this, Wycombe on 19th place with just 12 points, but just 1 defeat in the last 6 matches. Now Blackpool themselves on the flip side losing to Stockport most recently, back-to-back defeats, back-to-back games without a goal as well. Taking on a Wycombe side who won back-to-back themselves, picking up a win over Fulham's Youth in the Football League Trophy just last week, and then more importantly a big win against Wigan at the DW to continue their unbeaten streak of 3 games now. Now these two clubs have played 14 times since 2003. We've got 3 wins apiece and 8 draws between the two sides, and the last 3 between these two sides, whether it's been at Bloomfield Road or Adams Park, has ended up all square. So what do the bookies think for this one? Oh yes, Blackpool looking for a new coach. There might even be a new one before this game even plays. 18-11 for the Tangerines. We've got 16-11 as your Wycombe Wanderers, and of course the draw, which does look like good money right here, 12-5 currently between these two at Bloomfield Road. Well, I'm going to go with a victory for nobody here. I'm going to go another draw, which will make it 4 draws on the bounce, of course, in recent form between these two sides who just don't like a victory. In fact, though, looking back at it, Wycombe are unbeaten if you include the draws. 6 games at least unbeaten against the Tangerines. Let's go to where are we going here? Next up, we go to Valley Parade as Bradford City take on Barnsley. That's right. Bradford under Graham Alexander sits second right now. 24 points for them. Just 1 defeat in the last 5. Taking on a Barnsley side under Conor Hoonahane, who are now winless in at least the last 5 matches. They dropped down to 8th with 17 points between the two sides. Now, coming into this, Bradford are on the back of a draw against Rotherham. That was back on the 2nd of October. Of course, they are unbeaten now in at least the last 5 games. Sorry, the last 4 games in the league as they picked up a win over Blackpool not too long ago. As for Barnsley, on the back of a good, strong result when you think about it against the Wycombe Wanderers side, responding well to the new coach. Of course, so Barnsley pick up a solid point against Wycombe Wanderers. Now, these two clubs have played 21 times since 1996. 6 wins Bradford, 8 wins Barnsley. There's been 7 draws between the two sides. But the last time they played at this venue, it was a 5-1 win for Bradford. But it was in the Football League Trophy Northern. Let's forget about that. The last time they played in the league, though, at this venue, it was a 2-0 win for Barnsley back in August 2018. It's been quite a few years now. And if you take out that Football League Trophy defeat, Barnsley have won 5 on the spin against Bradford City. But the bookies, what do you think about this one? What a season, Bradford City. 7-6 nailed on for the victory here against the Barnsley side who've hit the skids. Goodness gracious, 14-5 your victory for Barnsley. Don't see it happening. The draw, 27-10. Well, Bradford City are cooking with gas right now towards the top end of the table, and Barnsley are struggling. But what with the bookies in mind, I am going to sit towards a goal fest here. 3-2 winners, Bradford City taking it. And of course, continuing their amazing season so far in League One. But now let's hop over to Wales as Cardiff City take on Reading. Coming at you at the Cardiff City Stadium. Barry Murphy's lads are third, 23 points for them. But they've just lost twice in the last 3 matches, which is a bit of a bad slump of form. As for Noel Hunt, who's fighting for his job here, still 21st for Reading. Unbeaten in the last 5 matches with 11 points. They've taken on Cardiff 37 times, and we'll get into those numbers in just 1 second. Cardiff, though, coming into this on the back of a 1-0 loss to fellow Welsh outfit Newport County Football League Trophy Southern. Prior to that, massive win against Leyton Orient, 4-3 winners when they last played in the league, especially in their own backyard. As for the opposition, Reading on the back of that 1-1 scoreline away to Exeter. That's an unbeaten run now of 5 matches. Pretty solid bit of form now as Noel Hunt responds to those manager removal rumours. Now coming into this, Reading picking up a cheeky draw against Exeter, of course. Now these two clubs have played 37 times since 2003. We've got 10 wins for Cardiff. We've got 14 wins for Reading. There's been 13 draws. Now coming into this, they last played in the league in this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Cardiff way back in February 2023. That's when these two clubs were both back in the Championship. The bookies have got their own opinion. What do they think? Let's have a little look. And over to Wales, Cardiff City against Reading. Of course, this is a late kickoff. I'm not too sure. Over to Wales, we got Cardiff against Reading. That's right. Barry Murphy's boys looking good at the moment. They got 2-1 on for the victory here. The away side 90-4. That's Reading. They're in a good bit of form with them. Without defeating a few games there. But of course, the draw 10-3, Dirk. you've probably got to back the form team, which is Cardiff. But that's being said, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for Cardiff. They are, of course, the serious outfit, the serious team that's going to be competing for those top 2 spots. But they've got a bit of a challenge on the hand heading into this one. Moving forward, let's go to the Keep Moat as Doncaster Rovers take on Northampton Town. That's right. Doncaster under Grant McCann, 10th in the table, 17 points for them. Not the best bit of form for them right now. Just 1 win in the last 6 matches. Up against the Northampton Town side under Kevin Nolan, 14th with 14 points. They're coming into this with just 1 defeat in the last 6 matches. Now, Doncaster coming into this on the back of that heavy 4-0 loss to Leyton Orient. Goodness gracious me. It's actually at least 3-4 games without a win, at least in the league for Grant McCann's lads. They need a result and fast. But 4-0 loss to Leyton Orient was the most recent. Coming into this, Doncaster Rovers are on the back of that 4-0 loss to Leyton Orient at Brisbane Road. Prior to that, though, in the league, at home, they did pick up a draw against Burton Albion. On the flip side, Rotherham United did take care of business against Northampton Town with a 2-1 win. Prior to that, though, their last away match was a 0-0 scoreline away to Port Vale. Now, coming into this, the bookies, what do they think? Let's have a little look. Alrighty, Keep Moat is the venue. 5-4 on is your Doncaster. Northampton Town, though, under Nolan doing A-OK. 3-1, that might be a cheeky little bet right there. And if I was a betting man myself, I'll probably swing that way. 27-10, though, is the draw between these two. And, of course, the Keep Moat. All that being said, I'm going to go with a victory for Doncaster to get back to winning ways and maybe just get that promotion or playoff talk back in the spotlight. Let's go to Kenilworth Road as new manager bounces on the order as Jack Wilshere is going to be taking on Mansfield under Nigel Clough. That's right. Luton, the Hatters, in 11th right now. 16 points for them. Just 1 win in the last 6 matches. Taking on a Mansfield Town side under Nigel Clough, who've also won once in the last 6 matches. Now, Luton under Jack Wilshere. This will be, of course, brand new territory for them. Coming into this on the back of that 3-1 loss to Cambridge in the Football League Trophy Southern. That was the last match about a week or so ago. Their last match in the league, a heavy 2-0 loss to Stevenage was a talking point, which saw the Hatters 3 away matches on the spin for them without a result. Of course, the last match at home was a 1-0 win over Doncaster, but of course that seems like a long time ago. On the flip side, Mansfield Town with a 1-1 scoreline away to Reading. That was also way back on the 4th of October. Now, coming into this, these two sides have played 19 times since 2003. 6 wins Luton, 4 wins Mansfield. There's been 9 draws between the two sides. They last played over at Kenilworth Road. It was a 2-1 win for Luton way back in April 2018. That was in League 2, goodness gracious me. Luton are unbeaten against Mansfield over the last 6, picking up 3 wins and 3 draws. We see the new manager bounce. Well, the odds are backing them. 5-3 is your Hatters right now. 4-1 is your Mansfield Town. The draw is at 29-10. Gotta back the host, Dirk. Don't be stupid. Gonna go with a win for the Hatters and a new manager bounce for Jack Wilshere. 2-0 winners for them in their own backyard. Let's go to Plymouth Argyle now as they take on Wimbledon. Goodness gracious, at home park. Plymouth Argyle under Tom Cleverley have started to turn a corner, but their league table position doesn't really reflect that. They're still 18th with 13 points, but they've just lost once in the last 6. Up against the Wimbledon side under Johnny Jackson, who are 5th. Flying high, doing absolutely phenomenal with 22 points, an unbeaten run now of 6 matches. Now, the Green Army coming into this on the back of that 1-1 scoreline in the Ryan Lowe derby back on October the 4th. That was the last home match for Plymouth. As for their opposition, Port Vale are also on the back of a score draw when they drew with Port Vale at home this past weekend over at Plough Lane. Now, these two clubs have played 22 times since 2011. 10 wins for Plymouth, 7 wins for Wimbledon. There's been 5 draws between the two sides. They last played in the league. It was a 2-0 win for Plymouth back in March 2022 in League One. Of course, Plymouth convincingly coming through their 2-0 winners. In fact, they're now unbeaten against them in all competitions in the last 5 matches. Picked up 4 wins and a draw to boot, including a thrilling 4-4 thriller back in September 2020. Now, the bookies, over to you. Plymouth Argyle cooking with gas with the Cleverley now. Even Stevens are their odds for this one. Up against high-flying Wimbledon. 27-10, goodness gracious me. 23-10 is the draw, gosh. Terrible start to the campaign for Cleverley, but they look in good shape at the moment. Yep, going to go with the Green Army victory here. I know Wimbledon are doing phenomenal, but Plymouth at home, difficult place to go, long way to go across the EFL. It's always a tricky place, and I do think Plymouth right now are starting to believe again that they might have a playoff push on their hands. Let's go to the New York Stadium. That's right, Rotherham taking on Leyton Orient. Goodness gracious, as Matthew Hamshaw has got a bit of form right now for the Millers. Unbeaten now in the last 3 matches, but they do sit 22nd with just 11 points. Taking on the Leyton Orient side under Richie Wellens, a man in demand. Was linked with the Luton Town job, but now maybe linked with the Blackpool job. Who knows? They sit 13th 13th with 14 points, but they're coming into this on back-to-back wins. In fact, both clubs on back-to-back wins. Rotherham picking up a 2-1 win over Northampton Town. That was, of course, at Six Fields back this past weekend, following on from a 3-2 win against Oldham in the Football League Trophy. As for their opposition, Leyton Orient on the back of that 4-0 win over Doncaster. We mentioned that earlier. So Richie Wellens starting to find the goals once again. In fact, they got 9 goals scored in the league for Leyton Orient in the last 3 league matches. Now, coming into this, they played 7 times to 2006. 4 wins we got for Rotherham, 2 wins for Leyton Orient. There has been 1 draw. They last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Rotherham back in March 2025. Bookies, what do you think about this one?
What can we do with the Millers here? 15-8 is your Rotherham, 30-10 is your Orient, 12-5 is the draw. The form book cannot decide between these two. What about you, Dirk?
It's a tricky one, this one. Rotherham have been a good bit of form. Leyton Orient, though, are serious contenders. And again, if they keep Richie Wellens sweet, you just don't know. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 away win. Leyton Orient getting the result and, of course, driving back up the table once again. Let's go to Stockport County as they take on Exeter over at Edgeley Park. Davis Challinger's boys are 4th right now, 22 points for them, going under the radar a little bit, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Can they get it right this time around? Taking on Exeter City side under Gary Caldwell, who are down into 16th with 13 points. Back-to-back games, though, without a defeat. Now, Stockport County coming into this on the back of a 1-0 win over Blackpool. Of course, looking at the league form only, it's been back-to-back wins for Stockport County, including a cheeky away win against Huddersfield Town. Their opposition, though, Exeter coming into this on the back of that 1-1 scoreline at home to Reading. Their last away match was a massive win over Lincoln City at Sinsel Bank. Coming into this, they have played 5 times in 2006. We've got 4 wins for Stockport. There's been 1 win for Exeter. There's been no draws between these two sides. Bookies have their own verdict. What do they think?
Okay, Stockport County at Edgeley Park. Red Hot favourites, 11-5 for the victory here. 19-4 is your Exeter, and we have 7-2 is the draw between these two. Only 1 defeat for Stockport, but Dirk, it's tricky. Got to probably back the host, I would imagine.
Got to back Stockport on this one, surely. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for them to take the 3 points and continue to push up towards the automatic spots. And then finally we go to the DW as Wigan under Ryan Lowe take on Port Vale under Darren Moore. That's right. Ryan Lowe's lads are 17th right now, 13 points for them, but they're winless in the last 6 matches. Actually desperate times in the club that I thought would be competing for the big time here. But up against the Port Vale side, who found a bit of form themselves, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They've actually got 67% form for them coming into this. Now, the match for Wigan comes shortly after that 1-0 loss to Wycombe at this very venue to make it 3 matches at the DW in succession. But looking at the last 4 of the last 5 matches have been at the DW. Wigan haven't won in any of those 4 matches. Goodness gracious me. As for the opposition, Port Vale on the back of 3 successive away matches. This will be the 3rd, following on from a 1-1 scoreline against Wimbledon. Coming into this, they played 6 times since 2002. We have 2 wins for Wigan, 3 wins for Port Vale. There's been 1 draw between the two sides. They last played at this venue, being a 0-0 scoreline back in April 2024.
Okay, under pressure, Ryan Lowe, you would imagine winners in the last, 5. We have 3-2 is the odds for the hosts on this one. We have 7-4 is your visitors, which is Port Vale. 21-10 is the draw. Under pressure, that's Ryan Lowe.
I've been a big fan of Ryan Lowe in this Wigan managerial role. I thought he would do all right, but right now they're absolutely ridiculousness in state of form. It's going to be a desperate times for them to get the win. I'm going to go with a 1-1 score. I think Darren Moore is underrated as a coach. I think he deserves a job further up the football ladder. But for me, I'm going to go with a 1-1 scoreline at the DW to continue Port Vale's bit of form and continue that winless streak for Wigan. And if I'm right, this is what the table will look like. It'll be Bradford City top of the pops with Cardiff now in 2nd spot. Stevenage dropping down into 3rd with Stockport County, Lincoln and Wimbledon making up those playoffs. And going down, it's Peterborough, Blackpool, Reading and Rotherham. Goodness gracious me. A lot of big boys struggling at the moment, that's right. But, of course, don't forget to hit the old like, hit the old subscribe, and please, please, please drop your own predictions down below so we can showcase you those next time around. But, of course, whenever that comes around, we'll be here to cover everything League One related. Until then, subscribe, smash the like. I'll catch you later. We're done.